You ever see that Jamie Kennedy New Year's party?
I haven't.
New Year's.
I haven't seen anything Jamie Kennedy in years. Is Jamie
Well,
Kennedy still relevant?
No. This was back in 2013. It was like 2012 into 2013, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the biggest clusterfuck I've ever seen. It's so funny, dude. Just like them cussing constantly, and like at the very end of the show when they're like signing off, a fight breaks out behind them.
What?
We're just fighting. Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to look that up at YouTube.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you at some time.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year's. Wait a minute, is this our first show of the year? Yeah, this is our first show of the year.
Yeah, it is.
Happy New Year's, everybody. If you're hearing this, you're alive.
We made it. You passed.
You
have now prestiged. You prestiged, and now you're prestige 1 in the year 2020. So year 2020 part 2. Here we go.
You have passed go. You can now collect your $600.
Dude, I got my $600.
Yay! No.
You didn't get yours?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
You should watch that video real quick.
Cyndi Lauper.
First of all, I didn't know Cyndi Lauper was still alive.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She is, but this video may change your mind.
Whoa. What happened to her voice? She's
old as fuck, and it's probably cold as shit out there too.
Yeah, but that shouldn't affect her ability to be on pitch.
Dude, I watched some of the like New Year's Eve things, you know.
I
like
was
the events.
looking for them because we were in a virtual party.
Yeah.
That I'll bring that up later on in the body of the show, but we were in a virtual party and I was kind of watching over my shoulder, you know, New Year's Eve. I was looking for the New Year's Eve Rockin' Eve stuff, and I never found any. And then finally something came on like at 11:30, and it was like 30 minutes. And it was
Ryan Seacrest, he did his. I didn't really watch that one. The one
Where
I was watching,
was it? What channel was it on? I don't remember
12,
seeing it at all. I was
12?
scrolling through it and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, it used to be called Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve. Now it's Ryan Seacrest or whatever.
That's because Dick's dead.
Dick is dead. But Ryan took over before he died, in fairness.
That's true.
But the one I was watching was Ken Jeong and Joel McHale.
Oh, Jesus.
Which the two of them have great chemistry. Like
they're trying to be the modern day Laurel and Hardy. It's not going to work.
Well, they were on that show Community together, and I think they're just good friends. And like they started a podcast recently, and the whole idea was, you know, Joel McHale's a comedian and Ken Jeong is a doctor. So let's talk about the coronavirus and put a little comedic twist on it.
They're also Ken Jeong is a judge on The Masked Singer. Joel McHale has guest judged several times. Ken Jeong has a new show called I Can See Your Voice. Joel McHale has appeared on that show several times. It's like anytime you see Ken, you see Joel. Anytime you see Joel, you see Ken. Actually, no, you don't see Ken when you see Joel, because Joel McHale hosts Card Sharks, The Return of Card Sharks, and you've never seen Ken on any of that. And then I just realized as I was saying all this, I watch way too much TV.
I really liked Joel McHale when he did The Soup. I really liked The Soup.
See, I don't find Joel McHale funny because he's too good looking. And my rule is good looking comedians aren't funny.
He reminds me of the co-host of the Loner Gamecast. He reminds me of Nick Sapon a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love the show Community, but the reason I bring up that that show
See,
is because you can tell they asked them to do that like 2 nights before it happened. Like it was such a clusterfuck. Like everything that was happening at one point, they shoot to not Sharon Osbourne. Who's the daughter?
Kelly.
Kelly Yeah, they shoot to Kelly Osbourne and she's out on the streets or whatever, and you can literally hear Ryan Seacrest next to them, even though they're like competing, and so they like start yelling at Ryan Seacrest, and like it was such a clusterfuck. But you know what? It was kind of enjoyable because it was such a clusterfuck. I only watched like 10 minutes of it, and I'm just like, these guys don't know what they're doing, and no one on the production team knew what they were doing.
They probably threw it together. And I mean, what little bit I did see when I finally found it on TV New Year's Eve night, was a very sparse group of people. I wouldn't even classify it as a crowd. It was a very sparse group of people, and I can't remember who was performing. I think it was Jennifer Lopez. She was on top of some big, huge white frilly thingy, and she had all of her extremely fit gay dancers with her. And I didn't have the audio on because we were in the virtual party. But it looked kind of weird. I wanted to see the balls drop, and then I also wanted to see the ball in New York drop. But
I feel like all of it was like the executives at like NBC and ABC or whatever, Fox, whatever the networks are. Yeah, they're like, oh God, it's New Year's. We're supposed to do something.
But it's always a cluster, dude. Even last New Year's, before the pandemic, they would throw it to different parts. They had like New Year's celebrations set up in different time zones. They had one in New York. They had a connection in LA. They had a connection in Dallas. They had Shaquille O'Neal spinning in Vegas. You know, they had in Atlanta, and they would throw it back and forth, and they would throw it to, like, let's say from New York to Atlanta. And then you'd see the host in Atlanta just sitting there, mic down off to the side, just talking to random people, not even realizing you're live. So even before the pandemic, it was a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
You know, and I think and when you're watching New Year's Eve, if you're not there in person, you're not carried.
A couple of my favorite moments from New Year's past are when Ninja wanted everyone to do the scissor dance, and everyone in the crowd at New Year's Eve or whatever in New York, they're like, who is this? Like, everyone's like, Ninja, like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's like, come on, let's do it. And everyone's like, no.
He was trying to do a Fortnite dance.
Yeah, he was trying to get everyone to do a Fortnite dance, and everyone's like, no, fuck you, dude. We're New Yorkers. Like, we don't fuck with you, bro.
Yeah, he's in LA. He's a California brat, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he's a California brat. I don't know. Does it open up to a larger suite?
The other ones that are always my favorite are the ones that they do on like news stations, right? Because like it's these professional newscasters like Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon, and it's like these guys, but they're covering New Year's, you know, like they're covering the big parties, and you could tell these guys are partying too. There was one where Don Lemon, you know Don Lemon on CNN?
Yeah, Don Lemon. Yeah, I do. I'm very familiar with him. I'm sorry, just to stream back, Ninja is from Detroit, Michigan, so he's an East Coast guy. So that's funny that New York was like, screw you.
I'm sure he lives in Cali now. But Don Lemon got so hammered during the
I remember that. I remember that.
At one point, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my nipple pierced," and he like pulls up. He's like, "Come over here, and pierce my nipple." He
cussed during that broadcast too, didn't he? Cuss on national television.
I think so. I was like, dude, Don Lemon's gonna get fired for this, and he did.
Don Lemon, because Don Lemon. I remember that year. Don Lemon was lit the hell up, and that was also the year that Anderson Cooper and his other little twink boyfriend they were doing shots during the New Year's celebration. And I want to say probably about an hour into doing shots, Anderson Cooper was slit. He was done. And he was giggly and he was falling out of frame and he wasn't completing thoughts. I remember that year. That was an amazing year. That was a good year.
Those are always the most fun ones when it's like these buttoned up newscasters just
and they just
they
just absolutely let go.
They're like, we're journalists, we don't care, this doesn't matter, like no one's watching our event anyway.
It was 2019. It was 2019 year. I just Googled it. 2019, and that's why drunk Don Lemon was trending on Twitter this past New Year's. Oh my God, when he was yes, I just pulled up the pictures. It's so hilarious. I remember that CNN Don Lemon he does shots. He got wasted. I totally remember that, man. That's a good callback, Jake. That's a good callback.
Well, let's call forward and start the show.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? Welcome to the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That's Cory. What's up, Cory?
I did laundry today, and I realized that I need
got some exciting content here.
Those tablets.
The Tide Pods?
No, there's special tablets that you put in your washer to clean your washer out.
Oh, gross.
My washers are brand new, but still, I don't like it when they smell just slightly awkward.
So, how was your New Year's, sir?
My New Year's was, believe it or not, better than I had anticipated. And this would probably be something that I alluded to this, in the opening of the show. It was actually, a lot better than what I anticipated it to be. It was virtual. It was fun, and I have to give a shout out to our newest mutual friend who set this whole thing up. He did an amazing, phenomenal job organizing this virtual New Year's Eve party. And I was, you know what? I'm a hard person to impress, but I was thoroughly impressed by how this all came to be. And when I got the invitation, as Jake has slapped me around for not attending things and responding to invitations and stuff like that, I was thoroughly impressed by this, and I had a good time. I had an amazing good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was at this quote unquote party. We basically set up a
party.
We set up a Discord party, and in this Discord server we had different rooms in the Discord. One was like the living room, one was the patio, one was the kitchen. We even had a bathroom. A bunch of people were playing Jackbox and Among Us.
Only 3 people could be in the bathroom at one time.
Yeah, it was funny. And every time someone actually went to the bathroom, they would put themselves in the bathroom in the Discord, and it was fun, man.
I can't recall the name. Who's the guy that set it up for us? What's his name? I only know
his name is Austin.
Okay,
his name is Austin, and if you watch if you watch the Loner Gamecast, he's often the one who writes in. His name is Cooking for Group.
That's the only thing that I could think of. I could only think of his effing Instagram handle. But shout out to Austin. You did an amazing job putting that together. I was impressed by it. I loved how it was all set up, how you had a patio, a living room, a kitchen, the bathroom, and then there were a couple of rooms where you could just go and play Among Us, or you could go and play some other game. I actually had a really good time, met a lot of great people from all over the world, down in Australia, I learned about bagels, and I mean, it was just an all around good time.
Yeah, we were in one of the chat rooms where it was.
Don't hurt anybody's feelings now, Jake. Don't hurt anybody's feelings.
No. We were in one of the chat rooms, and it was the patio, and one of our friends was like streaming a screen, and we all watched a movie called Lady Battle Cop.
Oh, God, what the hell was that? It's like a 1984 Japanese square frame shot movie that I was just sitting on Nick's lap out on the patio. And that was the only reason why I was out there, so that I could sit on Nick's lap. I don't know if he saw any of the movie because I'm like 18 times bigger than Nick. But I was sitting on Nick's lap watching this movie during New Year's Eve night, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. All I know is that there was a RoboCop that was wearing a blue earring that was getting beat the hell up by some dude with a pole stuck out of his stomach.
Yeah, it was basically a ripoff of RoboCop. And it's on YouTube. Everyone who's listening to this right now, which is 2 people, you 2 people should go watch Lady Battle Cop because it's
Austin
fucking epic.
And Nick, go watch Lady Battle Cop.
Yeah, it's fucking epic.
But you know what? I will say this though, as horrible and a mitigated disaster that movie was, I couldn't look away. I sat there for the whole damn thing. I felt dumber afterwards, but I sat there. But it was just so cool because we're describing this as if we were all literally at a place physically. And that is just an attestament to how great of a job Austin did, where we had a scene, we had an action, and we had a purpose in every last, and there was multifold. You know, you're literally on the patio watching a movie with some friends, which is something that you would absolutely do at a New Year's Eve party. You could totally have an outside movie theater. Matter of fact, Jake, next year, if we're pandemic free and the COVID isn't the problem, that's what we're going to do. I want to have a New Year's Eve party with a movie showing in the backyard with RoboCop lady playing on loop.
Or something.
It was
something
just so
as
phenomenal.
Ridiculous. Yeah, something
ridiculously
as ridiculous.
stupid, but it was so great, dude. I will, and some of us were drinking, at the party.
All of us were drinking.
It's so. Let me tell you how great it was, so put together. And I'm really, and now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm really enthralled by this. It's so great, Jake. As I share with other people how my New Year's Eve was, it literally plays and it's told in a way that I was actually there. You know, like I was physically at this event. That's how well it was put together. I live my life on conference calls. I live my life on virtual meetups. You know, being a person that works from home, that's like the only connection to the outside source. I only see my kids through FaceTime and Skype. So seeing this and experiencing this, it was just so different and so real. And then by the end of the night, some of them started turning their cameras on and it got really weird. You know, I went to about 3:30, almost 4 o'clock. Jake, how late did you go? Because you were on after I had
yeah, it was about 3:30. But you know, isn't that just how parties are too? Where it's just like a lot of the people leave, and then you're left with just like seven like really drunk people who are being weird as fuck because we're all drunk as shit, just saying weird things.
We met a CEO.
Did we? That's an inside joke for sure.
We had movies Austin Green, or what was? Oh no, I'm sorry. Movies Ryan Reynolds was at the party.
It was Ryan Gosling. It was yeah, famous movie actor Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
There was this guy, and no one knows who he is.
No
one knows who he is. Just this guy. His name on Discord was Movies Ryan Gosling, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy? Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Movies Ryan Gosling."
Ryan Gosling.
So we were all talking to him like he was Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, and when I tell people about the party, I'm like, Movies Ryan Gosling was there. There was a CEO that was there. And then I changed my name to Radio's Cory Blaze. So it was a celebrity who's who of whatever, from all over the world. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal.
I asked several people. I was like, "Does anyone know who this was?" And they're all like, "We have no idea." And then I messaged that guy. I was like, "So who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Movies Ryan Gosling."
Dude, who's to say that wasn't Ryan Gosling?
Hey, maybe it was.
Who's to say that someone just happened to slip him the invite and he just popped in? You know what I mean? Everybody kept asking him, "Who are you?" And he never varied from saying he was Movies Ryan Gosling. So it may very well have been Ryan Gosling. Who knows? But like with any true party, I was doing my best to follow the cool kids. Because I was the oddball out, and even like when I've gone to in-person parties in the past that are very few and in between, I always feel awkward. I always feel like my friends that invite me to the party abandon me in the room of people that I don't know, which is exactly what Jake did.
Oh, whatever, man. I didn't know anyone.
You left. You did. You knew you were talking to Annalcene or whatever the hell his name was. You were talking to everybody when we were watching on the patio. First Nick left, the one person I knew, and then Jake left, the other person I knew. And then I'm left there with 4 other people that I know not. And before you know it, a few seconds after Jake leaves and Nick goes and sits in the kitchen by himself for like 3 hours for no apparent reason. The room is just silent, and all we have left is just Battle Cop.
Yeah.
And that's it. Nobody was talking to each other because I didn't know. Nobody knew anybody.
Isn't that how parties go, though? You end up.
I know, which is one of the reasons why I don't like going to parties, because I'm like, I'm not. And then, of course, I see Jake go into the kitchen. I see Jake go into other rooms, and then I see him in the bathroom with Austin for like 15 minutes. I'm like, I can only imagine what's going on in there. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be like, I don't want to be like that annoying beagle and just follow you around everywhere. I didn't want to be that guy that was just, if Jake's in a room, Cory's in a room. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that, but I was like, okay, I'll just sit here awkwardly and just pray that Jake returns or that Nick decides to come out of his depression in the kitchen.
So now that we're in the new year, what do you want to see out of the new year? What do you want?
Weird transition, Jake.
Weird.
What I want. I'm gonna make up something to say here on the radio. So this is gonna be a complete and total lie. I want peace and happiness to abound the world around.
We got. What are you, like a fucking beauty pageant contestant, or?
Yeah. I'm gonna make it up because you know what? I'm not gonna talk about what I really want in the new year. It's too personal.
You don't have any like New Year's resolutions, or?
No, I'm not a resolutions person. I've never been a resolutions person. I don't think that it requires the flipping of a calendar or the completion of a rotation around the sun in order for somebody to decide that they need to set a new goal for themselves. I think every day your feet hit the ground and you are breathing and your heart is beating, and you have the activity of your limbs, I think that that's the time for you to set a new goal, challenge yourself. So I know people do believe in resolutions. I've never been one of those types of individuals. A new year does not necessarily dictate a new me. Every day dictates a new me. And
I agree with that.
If I didn't have a very expensive microphone, I would drop that bitch right now.
I agree with that 100% because I feel like honestly, like New Year's resolutions are usually a bad idea because they're just like an excuse to stop doing something because you're like, oh, I didn't really mean it.
Right.
But like
or you set
if you're to
yourself
start
up for
doing that,
fail.
like if you're like, I'm gonna do it right in the middle of summer, like don't even plan it. Just be like, today, this is the day I'm starting it.
Right.
That's the way to do it because then you're like, okay, I mean it. Like I'm starting now. I'm doing it now. Not like I'll do it next week when the New Year starts. Like that's such a bad way to do it because that you're already setting yourself up for failure.
Every day should be a day of new goals.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't accomplish those new goals, it should be a challenge to you to continue as you just to continue as as another human being. You want to always try to challenge yourselves to new heights. You always want to try to challenge yourself to elevate yourself. Do things for you, you know? And I mean, I'm not saying don't do New Year's resolutions. If that works for you and you've had success in the past doing it, okay, so be it. Cory, radio's Cory Blaze, I don't see it that way. I see that every day is a day for me to challenge myself to become better or to challenge myself to change something about myself. You know what I mean? But as far as your original question for what I'm looking forward to in the new year, I honestly will say it's quite personal this year. Quite personal.
Yeah.
And I don't think on any platform that I'm a part of, I will be airing what my expectations are of the new year. But I will say that it's a long shot. It's a huge challenge. And if it does happen, then I believe that it will affect the remaining time that I have on this planet.
Yeah, I look at it this way with New Year's resolutions, where if you mess up at all after that New Year's resolution, you're usually going to stop because you're like, well, I messed up. It's over. If you're just on the day, you're like, I'm starting now. This is it. And you mess up in the future, you're like, okay, that's fine. We can keep doing it because you didn't set that goal. You're just like, I'm doing it. And if you mess up, I did this. I've never really talked about this on like a public platform like this, but like I smoked cigarettes for 7 years. And there were several occasions where I was like, on a New Year's resolution, I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes. This is it. But what got me to quit was actually last year. And this is like, I was going to ask about hindsight, like what were some good things about last year? Because last year was shit, but there had to have been a couple good things, right? One good thing for me was I was able to quit smoking cigarettes. And the way I did it wasn't by doing a New Year's resolution. It was just literally like, I'm going to stop now. And I had a couple mistakes and I wasn't like, well, that's it. It was like, I just got to keep moving, throw that pack away and then start again. And now I'm close to 8 months of no cigarettes. And I'm pretty proud of that. And I think that is the way to do it. Fuck New Year's resolutions. Like you said, though, if they work, they work.
Right.
But I think for most people, they don't. Like, what is it? Gym memberships. And I'm sure this year it's a little different, but I'm sure gyms are freaking out because typically gym memberships go up substantially at the start of the year.
Huge.
And then just like die away dramatically as the year goes on,
because
usually within
fail.
the first month. Yeah, because they're like, well, I missed a day, so now it's just over. Whereas if you just start randomly and you fail for like a day or a week, you can be like, well, I started randomly before. Let's start randomly again. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's one step in one foot in front of the other. And at any time you can make that decision. And I used to be a smoker as well. I smoked cigarettes and when people hear that, they're like, there's no way. I mean, I was such a professional at hiding my addiction. I mean, I had it down to the science to know what would actually break down the molecules of the smoke in your clothes. So I knew what to spray on me before I was going to places. If I was going to see, my parents, I knew what mile marker in my car I had to, not smoke in order to air out long enough
Leave
to
the
get
windows
to,
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a professional dodger, where you couldn't, no one would ever believe unless they physically saw me doing it. But I smoked for many, many years. I remember my first cigarette was when I was like 15 because my dad smoked and I used to steal his cigarettes, and it continued on in my life. And it was one of the worst decisions that I've ever made in my life. But it was the same thing with me, Jake, where I finally made the transition and I said, or made the decision that, you know what, I got to give this up. And it was because, slightly intel because one of my neighbors just kept commenting on the cigarette butts around my property. They just kept, saying, oh, look at all those cigarettes. And I was just getting more and more embarrassed. And it was a very, very expensive habit. I can tell you that. But it wasn't a New Year's Eve. But I will tell you this, in the past, when I did smoke, there were several New Year's that I said, I'm going to quit smoking. And I failed successfully at every last one of those. It was literally not a New Year's where I woke up and I said, enough is an effing enough. It's time to let this go. It's sad because my kid was getting older, and even though I smoked, I never wanted to smoke in the car with him. And just for us to go somewhere simple, a 15-minute drive with him would turn into 25 minutes because I'd have to pull over to the side of the road, find a park, get out, have a 10-minute smoke break, and get back in the car with him and then drive, because I never want to smoke in the car with him. And I mean, it's a disgusting thing to look up and you're out there, killing yourself with these cigarettes and looking at your kid sitting in the car waiting for you to finish smoking while you're trying to do something as simple as, drive up to the movie theater. You know what I mean? So, but I set myself a couple of times to do it on New Year's, fail successfully every time.
Yep.
But don't, if you use New Year's to start yourself something, fine. But don't let that be the only reason why you decide to change something about yourself or you adjust to something. And one thing that New Year's resolution in its thought and its meaning is that it's something about yourself. That's the only thing that New Year's resolutions are really geared towards. They're not geared towards you doing something for someone else, as I go a little Delilah on you right now. It's not about you doing something for somebody else. New Year's resolution is more about you doing something for yourself. But don't always just don't just put it all in the bucket of it having to be New Year's where you decide to do something for yourself and make yourself better or to eliminate something out of your life.
It's true.
Delilah moment over.
So last year sucked. We're all aware. I feel like this is not news to anyone.
Don't ask me that question.
But were there any highlights of last year?
Didn't I just say don't ask me that mother effing question? Didn't I just say that? Do you not listen to me? Why don't you listen to me?
I'm sorry.
Without breaking down in a fucking fit of tears, I can't tell you one good thing about last year. I'm sure there were good things that happened in my life, but all the bullshit covers it all up, man. It's really difficult. I would have to dig to find something good. I mean, I could go with the standard, I'm still alive, my kids are still alive, everybody's healthy, everybody's happy. I could go with that standard bullshit. But 2020 sucked. It honestly did. Are we going to come out better on the other end? Yeah. But still, dude, I'm going to keep it 100. It fucking sucked. And it's challenging to find something that shines brighter than the suck. I can't.
Yeah, I remember back in like 2016, we were all like, this is the worst year. There will never be a year as bad as 2016.
Because everybody was dying.
Well, we were wrong. Last year was awful. I mean, I had some positive things happen in my life. The smoking thing I said for sure. I mean, the one big thing is this YouTube channel has been a very it's been a highlight, not just in the year last year, but just in my life in general. Being able to do this every week. I've posted 113 videos last year. And we've done 47 of these. We've done 32 of the Loner Gamecasts and a shit ton of other content. And it's just been a lot of fun and a lot of growth and just sort of a, I'm trying to, we talk about how shitty it is. And I'm sure there's so many other podcasts or streams that are talking about how shitty the year is. And I'm just trying to, bring a little levity to it.
Well, isn't that a switch of character? At the beginning of this pandemic, we were talking about it in the pre-show meeting. At the beginning of this pandemic, you were fire and brimstone, and I was your golden ray of sunshine on the other side of the storm. And now I'm the fire and brimstone, and you're the ray of golden. I'm totally fucking up the metaphor, but you get it.
Golden shit. That's what they call me. I'm like,
yeah, you're the goose that laid the golden shit.
Yeah, that's me.
But
I don't know, man. It's
you are right. I don't want to turn into this, kissy face show here, but you're right. Knowing you and knowing you personally and knowing you professionally, yes, that's 2020. That was a highlight of your year. I've never seen you dig as hard as you did in 2020. I've never seen you pivot as hard as you did when the pandemic hit to keep your products growing. Not only did you pivot to keep your existing products, you pivoted to even create more products with the movie review or the movie chat show that you do now. That didn't exist prior to the pandemic. That was a pandemic baby. So yeah, in your world, Jake, yeah, 2020, that would definitely be a highlight. And
I think a lot of people
I applaud you for doing that.
Yeah, and just to bring out the light and the darkness, I guess. I think
thank
a lot
you,
of people.
Corey. You're welcome, Jake. You couldn't even say thank you,
Corey.
You couldn't even say thank you. I just kissed your ass for 2 minutes and you couldn't say thank you.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate you.
You grateful son of a.
I think a lot of people, though, like, there has been a lot of darkness and a lot of shittiness, and I don't want to seem too positive here because I'm sure a lot of people have had it a lot harder than me. There's been a lot of shit this year, but I think a lot of people were able to find new passions this year,
but that's one of the reasons why I can't really find a shining moment in 2020, because not only has it just been dark, has been more darkness than light in my world, I've seen more darkness in other people's world. And I don't know about you, but I'm still one of those rare ass people that care about other people. And I don't like to see other people suffer. I don't like to see other people have to go through things and losing jobs and stuff like that. So I can't really sit back and celebrate when I know that the majority of people can't celebrate.
Yeah.
And that my heart is broken. My heart isn't broken just for my own personal situation. My heart is broken for other people. And seeing other people that are struggling through this, or seeing other people that don't have the mental fortitude that I have in order to make it through something like this. You know what I mean? So, and we're not on the other side of this. And 2020, yes, by calendar is over, but 2020 by mentality and effect continues.
It's true. Yeah, it sucks, man. Like, it really does feel like New Year did not happen, And well, and New Year's just a day, honestly. Like,
yeah, it's just another day on the calendar.
Yeah, it is. But it's a day. I guess the only good of New Year really is a day of reflection, of just calendar year past. This is what happened throughout the year.
Yeah,
but it continues. We're still.
You got to keep pushing. You got to keep fighting.
Yeah, we're still dealing with the Rona, which who knows how long that's going to go on for. We're still dealing with Trump saying that he won the election even though he didn't. Yeah, there's still a lot of negatives and
Yeah, I haven't even celebrated that Biden Harris winning. I'm telling you, I'm not. Like I said before, I'm not celebrating until he's standing on those steps of that Capitol being sworn in. I'm not going to celebrate till he gets to that's what's happening. When his hand hits that Bible, that's when I'll celebrate his win.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you think Trump is like not going to leave the White House? I know he's in Florida right now. I'm wondering if he even goes back to the White House.
I don't know. We've never ever had to experience this type of situation before, and the fact that I watched a few minutes of the news before we went, before we keyed microphones tonight, and there's another step in the way where I guess Congress or the House has to certify Biden's win, and there are people that are going to be challenging that. You know what I mean? There's like 11 Republicans that are going to challenge this. I mean, it's an absolute unprecedented time. I know that by the time a lot of people hear this, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be receiving the stimulus, which I don't know how that's going to help anything.
No.
When the average rent in Arizona is, $1,100 to $1,400, what is $600 going to do? It may feed a family of 4 for maybe a month and a half, but it's not going to stop people that are 9 months behind on their light bill, 9-10 months behind on their rent or their mortgage, 9-10 months behind on their car note. It's that's not going to do anything, especially when other countries have been, supporting their people. And I have very strong feelings about the stimulus, and we could literally do a whole show on that. But as far as will Trump leave the White House, I don't think he really has a choice. But I said it before and I'll say it again. He's going to fight until the bitter end. And whether it's a legal fight or whether it's a physical fight, I wouldn't put anything past him having to be physically removed from the White House on January 21st. I wouldn't put it past him, but we've got, 2.5 more weeks from the airing of this show, and we're going to have to deal with the Trump bullshit. So anything is possible at this point, dude. I put nothing past him. Dude, I'm not going to say that on a recorded platform, but, I wouldn't put anything past his attempts to avoid Biden being president, and I was giving Jake a physical cue of what I was gonna say, but
yeah,
but I don't put anything past him at this point. I really don't. The dude has sunk to lows we didn't even know existed, and people have championed it. You know what I mean? Look, how many years have a Democratic president lost to a Republican president, and you've never seen a Democratic president sink to these types of levels to try to stay in power? Never once.
Yeah, I mean, we've never seen a Republican president do it. I mean, shit.
Republican president as well. Even with President Obama, he even admitted how hard it was to turn the keys to the nation over to Donald Trump. He said it was very difficult, but because he cared more about the state of this country, he did what was required of him. He didn't push back on it. Clinton, when she lost, she didn't push back with lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits, claiming that it was voter fraud. None of this has ever happened. And it's amazing that the same people that have been around for previous losses, both on the Republican Party, both on the Democratic Party, there are still senators and House representatives that have been there before. And it's so interesting to me that I heard something today, and I never thought about it, how a handful of the senators that were elected this last year are challenging the results of the presidency on the precipice that it was voter fraud, but they're not challenging their own votes. Yeah. That's just plain insanity. The same ticket yo ass won on is the ticket that you're challenging, but only the first part, just the presidency. Not the fact that you won, just the presidency. That's the only part that you find challenging, and that was the only part that I guess anyone that wanted to commit voter fraud, that was the only part of the ballot that they wanted to commit fraud on. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, come on. I've said it 10 years ago. I'll say it again. We need to bulldoze DC and start this government over in Maine. Bulldoze it, make it a parking lot or a circuit city, and start this shit over in Maine. We didn't fuck DC as hard as we can. We've gotten all the juice out of the lemon. Now we're at the bitter rind, and nobody knows what to do with the bitter rind. Nobody wants to make any zest out of it because it's all moldy. Bulldoze that shit, start over in Maine. A whole new government in Maine. Start it over.
Yeah, we were saying that from the get-go. He was saying things are fraud in this state, but the states that he won are not fraudulent, but the ones that he lost are. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. None. Bonkers. You know what? Honestly, Jake, a part of me wants him to have to be physically removed. I mean, that'd be a great day of news broadcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Crying, screaming, fake hair flipping all over the place. Who doesn't like seeing who doesn't like pointing and laughing at a crying orange baby?
That's true.
You lost.
Yeah.
Pack up, get the fuck out.
And when it comes to the stimulus, like,
I could do a whole hour on stimulus, man.
$600. Yeah, that's nothing. But and $2,000, that's something. But like, even that at this point is like, what's that gonna do? And I don't need $2,000. Like I don't need it. Like, how about we up the price and we just give it to the people who really fucking need it? Like, that's what they've been doing in Canada. Is they've been giving people who like lost their jobs and are, who just can't live right now. They've been giving them $2,000 every month.
Yeah.
And that's what we should have been doing this whole time. And our country is now wondering if we should give out $2,000 one fucking time. And then at the same time, I saw this interesting thing where it was like, Mitch McConnell has actively stopped giving $2,000 to the American people, and in the week that he stopped trying to get $2,000 to those people, he made $3,380 in that week. And yeah, and that's just the way it is, because that's his salary or whatever, and that doesn't include all the lobbyist money that he makes and all the money he makes from all the people who pay him off to do certain things, because we all know it happens. They don't discuss that. That's how the government works, though. And yeah, our government is inherently flawed. Capitalism is inherently flawed. I'm not saying communism is the way. I'm not even saying socialism is the way. I don't fucking know. I'm not a politician, but like, there's got to be something, man.
We're missing better than what we're sleeping on. One motherfucking key thing here, Jake. One key thing. It's our money. You do realize that the government ain't out there earning a wage from from a third party. This is your tax money, people. This is your tax money. This is your money that they take out of your check when you've been working all these years. It's your daddy's tax money, your dead grandma's tax money. This is our money. And the time that we need it. Now, I'm not a person for big government. I don't want government all in my life. But in a time like this, And I've used this before and people think it's a little extreme, but it's the best way to express myself. At the time that people are dying in the streets, where government needs to be government, they're failing us. Every last one of them. Why the hell was there a fucking DACA bill or whatever type of piracy pork stuffed in the back of the stimulus? I'll never know. But it's our money. It's your money. It's my money. It's your family's money. Money that they take out of your check every 2 weeks when you were working. They don't want to give it back to you. They literally $600 this time. And what was the first stimulus? $1,200?
Yeah.
A $1,200. Okay. So y'all got $1,800. When you compare that to all the money that they've taken out of your check since the time you have been an American worker, that $1,800 is a fucking tip. And yet you're still starving. You're still hungry. Your kids are still confused. Your lights are still threatening to be turned off. You can't drive your car because you can't even put gas in it. And they tip you $1,800 fucking dollars of your money. Fuck all these corporations. Because the corporations, soon as they saw their profits start to dip, did they adjust and pivot so that they could find ways to do business cheaper? No, they sent your ass packing. So we're giving more money to them. Listen, folks, you're talking to a guy that's a business owner here. If I file for a business owner, for a small business stimulus money, and let's say that I get $100,000, there's no checks and balances that the government has put in place to make sure that I use that $100,000 of the stimulus money that I got to hire any of my employees back. I could easily do like that church did down in Florida, take the stimulus money and go buy a fucking jet. And ain't nobody gonna ask me about it. I don't have to hire you back. I don't have to hire my employees back. I can use that money for whatever the fuck I want to do. And guess whose money it is? It's your money. I'm okay. I'm a business owner. My mortgage is paid from the stimulus money that allegedly was supposed to help me hire employees back. There's no checks and balances in that stuff. So that's where the bulk of the money is supposed to go. When the bulk of the money should be coming back into the pockets of the American people because it's their fucking money. The thing is that all those some bitches in Washington, D.C., they got one thing that a lot of suffering Americans don't have. They got a job. They fart and sneeze $600 a day. They fart and sneeze $1,200 a day. That doesn't mean any. Their fucking electricity bills are $1,200 a day or $1,200 a month. They don't go home to light bills stacking up. They don't go home to car bills stacking up. They don't go home to medical bills stacked up. They have no connection whatsoever to any of us that are actually out here living, that are paying their wages and their way of life. I've said this before and I'll fucking say it again. Nothing will change until the American people learn that they are the American people. There are more of us than there are of them. But yet we have allowed them to lower us and put us into the corner of fear that they are the government. They only have the power we've given them. And we don't realize that. And when enough of us realize that, that's when shit will start to change.
I look at it like this. Okay. A tax-paying country, like where you pay taxes to your country. It's like paying a. This is for the rich hoity-toities out there. Okay. It's like paying a resort fee. Okay. And right now, our resort is crumbling, and they're not taking care of the resort guests. So why are we paying this resort fee? You know? Yeah. We continue to pay this resort fee. Well, the Canadians are paying their resort fee, and they're being taken care of. You look at any other country, they're being taken care of. That's not happening here. Why is that not happening here? I'm sure it's worse in, some other country. I'm sure it's much worse in like North Korea or something. I'm not saying like we're the absolute worst country ever, but we're certainly not the best right now. And with the amount of fucking taxes, you're right. The amount of fucking taxes that we pay, I've been paying since I was 15 years old.
Yep.
You know, that all of us pay. And, you know, even business owners, like as business owners, you got to pay taxes and stuff. And it's the small business owners that pay the most tax, because you look at places like Amazon, which are the ones that are getting bailed out the most, like Amazon and fucking Walmart. And these are the companies that are getting bailed out the most. But the ones who pay the most taxes are the small bars, you know, the ones that can't stay open, the movie theaters. You know, these are the ones that actually pay taxes here, because they don't know how to like export bank accounts in different countries, so they don't have to pay taxes to the American people. But yet these are the places that get bailed out. We've seen it before, where the car manufacturers get bailed out during the middle of a fucking financial breakdown. It didn't go back to the people. It went to these fucking companies, and they can say all they want that the recession ended, you know, or whatever. It didn't. A lot of fucking people never recovered from that and are still recovering.
Michigan will never be the same. They're the automotive capital of the world. They haven't, because when companies and when they started to see that the economy of the American economy started crashing, Ford built their warehouses in Mexico.
Yep.
They sent all their work overseas. We've mortgaged our tomorrow for a temporary today.
And, you know, Trump loved to claim that, like, unemployment was the lowest it ever was before the pandemic or whatever. But what does that actually mean if the people who are working are making fucking $12 an hour? Like, what does that actually mean to anything? What does that mean at all? Nothing.
Even if you take the $600 that a lot of people just got out of the stimulus package, that's not even the equivalent to a 2-week paycheck when you're working minimum wage.
Yeah,
that's less
true.
than minimum wage, folks. Less than minimum wage. You make more than $600 in 2 weeks on minimum wage.
$600 is like the paycheck you make when you work at like McDonald's and you're in high school and you're working part-time at McDonald's because, you know, you just got your car or whatever. That doesn't, like, that seems like a lot for them, but once you own a fucking house or you live in an apartment even, like, that doesn't do shit for you. That's a PS5 at most. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people are going to fucking buy with it, because what else do you buy with $600?
Not a street value PS5, because the street value of a PS5 right now is $990 for the digital one. You can almost get an Xbox Series X, but the street value for that is about $835. So the government ain't even giving you a video game system.
Yeah, I can't even buy a fucking 3080 with this shit. It's ridiculous.
And you know what? Yeah, I know that $600 of stimulus money is going to help some people. It's going to help some people. And no, am I expecting the government to pay all of my bills? No, I'm not expecting them to pay all of my bills. But I expect them to at least put a bandage so we can stop hemorrhaging, so the people can stop hemorrhaging. If this was a worser situation, because it could get a lot worse, if this was a worse situation and the majority of Americans were hungry, the majority of Americans weren't working, how would they act then? When the food banks have dried up, when the corporations have to go out of business, what would they do then? Well,
you know what this is, Cory?
What are we gonna have to do? Have 1 million people standing at the gates of the White House?
You know what this is? This is like, to go back to your bandage analogy, this is like getting a giant scrape, like a giant cut on your thigh, just the biggest fucking cut on your thigh.
And the worst place to get a cut is on your thigh.
Yeah, you get a giant slash on your thigh, and instead of getting it stitched up, they put a little piece of toilet paper on it, like they do when you cut yourself shaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what this $600 is.
Well, the $600 is a little piece of toilet paper. The $1,200 was a Mickey Mouse Band-Aid on a 6-inch cut.
So, granted, it's something, but it's not much.
And that's what those motherfuckers are probably thinking right now too. They're probably saying, well, we did something. And I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to sleep well tonight because we did something for the American people.
Because the politicians don't look at us. They don't look at the American people. They look at the corporations. They look at the businesses.
The ones that are pulling their strings.
Right. How do we maintain these businesses? How do we keep these businesses alive? This is what the world looks at. They don't look at us. They don't look at the people. They don't look at healthcare workers. They don't look at caregivers. They don't look at Walmart associates. They don't look at the bag boy. They don't care about that. They care about the CEOs. They care about Jeff Bezos. They care about whoever fucking leads Walmart. I don't know.
But if we realize, Jake, if we realize that we're the reason Jeff Bezos is Jeff Bezos, do you know how powerful that is? If we realize that, let's just say 10 million people stop ordering from Amazon. 10 million people just stop ordering. You think Jeff Bezos would be Jeff Bezos? No.
He would never buy from Amazon.
He would just be Uncle Jeff up the street. We made Jeff. Jeff didn't make himself. We made Jeff. Our dollars make Jeff.
So not only us, though. Not only us. Not only did we make Jeff Bezos, but the people who work for Jeff Bezos made Jeff Bezos.
Exactly.
Those people who drive those trucks around, those people who deliver the packages, the people who, pack up the packages. Those
the computer
are the people
programmers, the custodians, the cleaning crews. If all of those people realize that they're the reason Jeff Bezos is Jeff Bezos, if they walked away from that, do you think Jeff Bezos is going to be able to get you your Dawn dish soap in 2 days? No. I don't even think Jeff Bezos probably ain't stepped foot in one of his Amazon delivery trucks since the first electronic one rolled off the lot.
He probably never did.
He's Jeff Bezos because our dollars made him Jeff Bezos. So if we decide that we learn that our dollars are what's making these corporations, because these corporations are never going to recognize that we're the reason they're a corporation. If we realize that, shit will change. I'm telling you, folks.
This is why unions are a good thing.
This is why people need to realize that it is not left up to President Snow and the people in the Capitol. It's us that are digging the trenches in the individual districts. That if we rose up together and realized our power and honored our self-worth, things would change. Yes, there's going to be some bloodshed along the way. Yes, there's going to be some trying times as they try to fight back. But at the end of the day, folks, we have the power. Nobody wants to own it. No one wants to harness it. And that's why they are allowed to tip you $1,800 while your grandmother's dying in the street. And if you don't think that my metaphor, people dying in the street, isn't real, go drive by a hospital. Drive by any hospital in this country. They're packed to the brim.
1,000 Americans have died of COVID.
They're packed to the brim. And this action of critical care, folks, I'm telling you, I'm close to the healthcare system. The action of critical care pretty much puts your life, your family's life, your mother's life, your father's life, your cousin's life. It puts their life in the hands of a computer program, an algorithm that factors in their age, their weight, their race, their zip code. And then that computer runs an algorithm. And then it tells the doctor which one of the people that are in their hospital deserves care. And you know what the doctor does? The doctor takes that computer's program suggestion and goes and gives the care to the person that the computer program allowed it to do. The computer becomes God because the hospitals are overrun and they can't give equal care to everybody. And it's not just the people in the streets that are dying. Our nurses are dying. Our doctors are dying. We got to get this shit under control, folks. We've got the power to control the government. We don't recognize that. We also have the power to control this pandemic, and a lot of us are refusing to even adhere to it because we've just grown tired of it, folks. You don't fucking understand what's at stake here. You don't understand what's at stake. And the media isn't telling you what's at stake. A computer is going to start telling doctors whether or not they can give care to someone. Meaning that if the computer says they don't get care, that person dies. And they go into a frozen truck on the side of the hospital. And then we throw them in a hole. Your government, folks.
Well, this has been an uplifting episode.
Hasn't it? I mean, I feel great. 2021 is going to be amazing.
Happy New Year, everyone. Just want to say, if you had a New Year's party, first of all, fuck you. What are you doing with your life? Why are you doing that?
Eat a bag of dicks.
But listen, if you did have a New Year's party, it's not too late to stop being a fucking idiot, okay? You had your fun on New Year's or whatever. Just stop. There's no holidays coming, okay? It's all over. Just stay home.
The damage is done, though, Jake. 2 weeks from now, people are going to start dropping like fucking flies.
I understand, Cory. But if you didn't get sick already, fucking stop. Okay? Just stop. That's it. That's the show.
They don't get it. But Jake, you know what?
Well, they're never going to get it if you just keep talking shit, you know? You got to just get on their level and be like, listen, you had your fucking party.
I can't get that low.
You did it. You did it. You had your party. I'm coming down to your eye level, okay? You had your party. That's cool. I'm glad you had fun. Now stop.
Stop. Put the brakes on it.
It's too late to start talking shit about these people now. They already fucked up. So just stop. Stop now. It's not too late. The vaccine's coming. The vaccine's coming. So just stop. God, and even when the vaccine's out, and stuff, we still need to stay inside.
Don't let your guard down.
Yeah.
Still got to stay.
Anyway.
Well, you know what, Jake? Well, happy New Year to you, buddy. You're one of my bright spots in 2020, and it has absolutely nothing to do with your skin complexion.
I was just gonna say it's just because I'm so white, dude.
And you know what? And I was happy to be your dark spot in 2020.
No, you were a bright ray of sunshine and rainbows and lollipops. And
if anything, Jake, I eclipse your sunshine and your rainbows the size of my ass. Shout out again to Austin. Thank you again for the amazing New Year's virtual party. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I got drunk alone, but I wasn't.
You're like an eclipse. That's what you are. You're beautiful to see.
A total eclipse of the sun.
But if you look too closely, you will be blinded.
Yeah. Unless you're orange and you're a big baby, then just take your sunglasses off and look right into it. Sun, moon, move.
Make sure you check out the show every Monday. Make sure you check out the Loner Gamecast every Tuesday. And other things on the channel. I'm on TikTok now. Check me out.
Yay.
I'm doing dances. I'm doing... Bye.
5, 6, 7, 8.